So the first panel that we're going to introduce, start with at Raw Collaborative 2024. We've called it Design Beyond Aesthetics, which is one of the baseline upon which we have done a lot of curation over here. All these people over here. The panel will explore design as a transformative force, which shapes culture, sustainability, and innovation. With the theme at the threshold, the discussion will highlight four sub-themes, largely timelessly rooted, contemporary craft legacies, sustainable living, and design futures. This is all to celebrate design's conceptual depth, societal impact, and environmental stewardship. I'll take the opportunity to introduce our panelists. We have Shabnam Gupta, who's the founder of the Orange Lane Design Studio and Peacock Life. She's an award-winning designer with a remarkable portfolio which spans interiors, styling, and decor for celebrity homes, renowned restaurant chains, and distinctive spaces. Her work is driven by a vision to craft timeless partial narratives, each project reflecting an exclusive and artistically enriched environment. Then we have Dhruvkant Amin. Dhruvkant is the founder and partner at Tectona Grandis Furniture and also an NID alumnus. He combines craftsmanship and innovation to create luxury and sustainable designs. With accolades like the El Decor and Lexus Design Award, Tectona Grandis redefines Indian furniture, blending traditional artistry with modern techniques for timeless elegance and functionality. Then we have Bhairavi Naik, who is the senior partner with Curators of Clay. Bhairavi is an ex-advertising professional, transitioned from leading roles in agencies like Grey, Leo Burnett, and Saatchi to become one of India's most educated potters with a master's in biochemistry and an MBA. Wow. A certified gardener and yoga practitioner, she divides her time between her studio and family across Pune, Mumbai, and London. Then we have Aayushi Jain. Aayushi is the curatorial lead at the Registry of Sarees in Bangalore. She has curated exhibitions like Blended Greens, Russet Hues, and Red Lilies, Waterbirds, the second iteration. A triple gold medalist from MSU Baroda in museology and archaeology, she is now pursuing a PhD studying Madhya Pradesh sculptures. And then we have Ayesha Parikh. She is the founder of Art in Charlie, which has transformed her nomadic gallery into a vibrant culture house in Bandra, Mumbai. She hosts 8+ art exhibitions annually, alongside cultural events and what is known as India's smallest cafe, which is at the gallery. Recognized by Architectural Digest and Art Mumbai, Ayesha is also a chartered accountant and a former McKinsey consultant. And we have Neeraj, who is going to be moderating this stellar panel. Neeraj is a co-founder and partner at I Do Design. He is and Idograph and specializes in interior and graphic design. A TEDx speaker and past Triple ID chairperson, he is an award-winning art director, mentor, and startup advisor. His ventures span retail design, digital printing, furniture, and creativity workshops with plans in creativity. Yeah, I'm going to hand over the mic to Neeraj and hope you all have a good time.
Check. Ready? Okay. Very good morning was what I had rehearsed a couple of times. It's good afternoon. So hi, it's unbelievable. Look at the kind of things that you bring in and the whole journey in terms of what you've actually done and what you're doing now. And that itself is, I think, the start point of things that we want to kind of show to especially the younger crowd, and not just the younger crowd, who have a plethora of things open for them, but they are unable to make certain right choices. I'm glad that you're curating and helping young designers as well. Right? And I think a lot of them are going to learn from this. It doesn't matter where you start. You've got to kind of pick up your short-term goals and long-term goals as you go by. So to start with, and as I said earlier, I'm not very comfortable sitting, so I'll keep moving. So thank you so much, Vivek. There was a brilliant brief given by Vivek, about what he has curated this to be known, with all super respect. And there is a certain reason why we are all here and why we have this kind of a discussion. This is a capsule that we are getting from 5 people from stellar panelists who are going to be giving a juice of all that they've done, learned and experienced over a period of time. How does this connect to us here and where we are at Raw Collaborative? So the whole idea or the start point was design beyond aesthetics. And I'm sure you will agree with me, is that design and aesthetics are not really on two different sides of the spectrum. Vivek used a very nice word called visual allure. So let's look at that. So as we go on to discuss visual allure and its hierarchy in what we see first, before the semiotics of what that object becomes in our minds to make choices. When we are picking up something, it's beyond the visual, but we see it with our eyes and we start seeing and understanding it much beyond what we just see. So, and a lot of our intelligence starts seeping in because we are making those choices based not just on the visual, but today we are conditioned to start thinking in other manners. The younger crowd is already conditioned because they are living a lifestyle like that. We, in our kind of age bracket, if I can take the liberty, is that we have grown from so many things and started aligning ourselves with certain things. And those things start reflecting in what we do, what we choose, what we buy, and what we make or curate. Correct? So that's where we start making intelligent choices which are beyond what we see or what we feel. So the aesthetic itself is expressions of materiality and the design intent. We have with us curated curators who bring in their sensibilities and their network here. And trust me, you guys are here at Raw Collaborative because of your network as well. Tanvi, correct? Yes, of course. It works. Let's understand what rocks their boat, what ticks them, what tickles them, just as they go on to discuss with us what is really important. We start with the understanding of visual allure first and look at its banality and its importance of how we do judge a book by its cover. We do, right? Let's start with Shabnam. Shabnam, let's break down how you select versus design, because you do both those things. So what is your basic criteria? And you can break both of them down. They could be different or the same. एक ही mic है? एक.
I'll pass.
Oh yeah, oh, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah.
I'm audible? Yeah. Okay. So I run a design studio by the name of the Orange Lane, where we do personalized tailor-cut designs for individuals. I've also founded a retail brand by the name of Peacock Life, and I think you are referring to my role in both.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think obviously the person remains the same. Your mind functions a bit differently when you are curating or picking products for your retail versus when you're designing. Though we design and retail, though we design and curate at my retail, I think when you're designing, you're not really designing for yourself. I think our design philosophy as a studio is it has to be about the end user. It has to be about how they are going to feel, how they're going to use the space, what that space is going to do for them psychologically, physically, emotionally. And I think we have a very holistic approach when we are designing spaces. But when you are curating for a retail brand, it's a bit about your sensibilities, but it's about a far larger audience. It's about who you want to talk to. And then within that larger audience, who is the smaller audience that really resonates with your design sensibilities. And that sometimes is a hit and a miss. But I think when it comes to your design studio, it better be a hit. So I would think that's the difference.
Fair, absolutely fair. I think so. And we'll come to this whole dichotomy of managing these two roles. Dhruvkant. Yeah. So let's look at it from the other end now, because you're already running a retail uh, outfit, right? And you're involved in everything from design to being there mostly at the store when you're meeting certain clients. What is your experience, or how, in your experience, do users select furniture when they come to you? Especially if they're not assisted by a designer or an architect on board. You have a lot of walk-ins, right, who choose themselves.
So, from Dhruvkant, I'm founder and designer of Tectona Grandis Furniture, and as there was a brief introduction that was given. Uh, so we are involved in 100% designing furnitures, and obviously there are people who come down to us about when they are selecting and they are obviously proposing us to even plan out spaces. Uh, so what we do is because we are involved in both of the zones, and we have to be very tactful in when we are discussing about the space, because even if they are coming without consultants to us, we need to make sure that we do not surpass the hierarchy of a consultant which is there, which are not joining them on that meeting. So generally, we are very careful while taking the brief, and we take time. We take the uh, you know the mood boards or something that is created by an interior designer or a architect who is involved into that project, and then we slowly specify. But see, we are very specific in terms of when we are delivering our product, because we have a large uh, this large quantum of designs that are there at our store, and then they always come up with their own fancies.
Dhruvkant, sorry,
And
I'll cut you there. So more than your process, right? I was actually looking at how people look at the furniture when they buy. What has that experience been? They don't have a mood board.
so they come with their own ideas.
What
They
is
always,
that? What is that? How do they
see,
select? Because we're
see
looking at
there are 3 to 4 parameters on which the furniture is always judged. One is obviously they've seen somewhere, first
correct.
of all, so they will come with that thing. Could be somewhere internationally they have traveled and seen, or at someone's house they have seen, or they're basically a
Yeah,
reference base.
yeah.
Secondly is obviously the aesthetics that they want, because we as a studio have a very strong aesthetics, if you know
Correct,
about us,
correct.
because we are very specific with wood
Yeah.
and the tonality of the wood and the design language. Thirdly, obviously everything boils down to the price. So aesthetics
Ah,
is one,
right.
but price is very important for each and every. Even if he is a multimillionaire, but ultimately everything boils down to the price. So
And that this is irrespective of whether the client is from Ahmedabad or not.
yeah, everywhere.
They're the same everywhere. Okay.
In fact, client in Ahmedabad have matured a lot.
Oh, nice. That's all thanks to Raw Collaborative.
Yes.
Where's my check for this statement?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry. So price, yeah.
Price.
Okay. So great. I think. I mean, you said it. So you're already doing something which is bracketed, and yet there's a large basket.
Yes.
They kind of know because the kind of furniture that you do already has a certain function, and they're coming for that. And you very nicely said they've traveled abroad, or they have references out of somebody's house, but you are not saying that they would have seen it on Instagram or on Pinterest, which is,
They
isn't it a
do
big deal?
they do come up with
Okay.
those images also.
But that doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
Because I think so the way we have, I think kind of we have branded ourselves. I would say that they are quite clear when they are coming to us.
Okay.
So they know that Tectona will not do something like this.
Okay.
They will only do what they
So it's only when
are
the
supposed to do.
It's only when they are assisted by a consultant like an interior designer or an architect is when they get messed up.
No comments.
No? Okay, no comments. So I like that. Okay. Okay. Very good. So the visual form, in your case, because you've done the brand bit, you know in terms of how it's supposed to be sold. You've gone into the completely deeper other side of your journey. And this is extreme, and it says, whatever you see is what we make, right? You're not getting somebody else to make it and kind of, right? So is the visual form pre-decided when you create a product, considering that you're the visualizer and the maker? And we're still not looking at the selling aspect right now.
Yeah. So, in my mind, you can't divorce the process or the visual or even the utility of everything has to combine together. So, in terms of when I'm designing something, I have in my mind that what kind of colors or probably I want it, but the functionality is very, very important because we do a lot of functional wear. So people are using that, and we want people to use it every day. So it shouldn't be odd or anything like that. It needs to be comfortable, but at the same time, aesthetically, it has to look beautiful. Because you're spending your time with that. Starting your day with a cup of coffee, and if you start your day really well with a beautiful stuff, your day will. It's a good start to the day. So it's both together. I can't divorce the two together.
Fair,
I think it's mixed. So I think it's integrated so well. So I'm not thinking it differently at all. Maybe there are some trade-offs I might have to do when it comes to the process or the material.
Yeah.
Because clay does have limitations.
Limitations, yes.
Yeah, so that I'll have to keep in mind that what is possible, what is not possible. But I would say it's very seamlessly integrated.
Okay. And this has remained constant for how many years now?
10 years.
10 years, right? And it hasn't changed?
No.
Great. Super. Aayushi. Your products and what you're curating are unique. Now, they are generally supposed to go onto a body, onto a form, right? Not always, but especially in cases of a drape. So, and they already have some sense of beauty in it by the virtue of color, weave, texture. And then it has another form which is flow. Now tell me, is that beauty enhanced by the wearer? And how do you already take care of that? Where does the wearer come in? When you're looking at making, curating, putting it together, how do you think of the end use?
Yeah, so we are set up as a research and documentation center, and with our archival collection of 2000 sarees and textiles, we've studied how skill, materiality and process in textiles has transformed to take its place today. And with the sister concern brand Yali, we are then using that study and research to take it ahead. Yes.
Right.
So in that, like, we have what was in the past, what works today, to understand how, what is it that people would want to wear, or what is it that's missing specifically in terms of Yali.
Any example?
Yeah, so for example, as part of our project, we've recently reinterpreted a lot of sarees that were initially part of the documentation by Watson's, which was in 1866. Now, John Forbes Watson came to India and he documented about 18 volumes of textiles, which he then took back to England, and then all these forms and the patterns were reproduced in the mills. So that kind of declined our trade. So when you have something like that which is gone because of so much of import from the textiles abroad, you may want to go back to your skill, materiality and process and research for that. So at Yali, we are doing that kind of a study, and that's how we take it forward.
So brilliant, so it's backed by research.
Yes.
It's backed by history, and with a belief that we are bringing back something. Do the users or the end users, obviously, because it's selling finally, it's getting consumed, and that's where we are coming to, right, in terms of consumption. So do you think that, there are two ways, right? One is that we are reviving, we are doing it, and it doesn't matter. Jisko pasand aayega lega. Right? We don't have very large numbers to sell, it's all right. So what is that attraction point? Are they being able to understand that this is what has gone in behind this?
So more than the wearer, it's the weavers that we want to bring back the skills to. And that's the focus of the study.
Super. That's the focus. We start from there.
Yeah.
I'll come back to this.
Yes.
Yeah. Super. So Ayesha, with curation and especially with art, right? There's a lot of amalgamation of expressions and emotions which are already built into that piece. And generally we think that it's supposed to be accepted just the way it is, right? who wants to decipher what's in it? You like the art, you like it, you take it, right? But tell me, what's your experience been? How do people buy art?
So there are two things. One is the way some people buy art just looking at it and getting a visceral reaction on emotions. And then there's also the other side, which understands the narrative, understands why the artist made what they did, and the narrative behind it, which is really strong. For example, on the commercial side, the more commercial it is, people look at, okay, is it a nice aesthetic that will go in my home on one side, but on the other side, museums will look at something that is, does this add to the socio-political narrative and context of our present day?
Super.
Right? So there is a balance that as galleries that we have to play at all times, and the hope is that we're able to strike that balance over time.
Sure. Who's Charlie?
Charlie is there's an inherent dichotomy on the word Charlie.
Okay.
Either it's monarchs,
Yeah.
so very elitist, and on the other side it's
Anybody. Right. Or that Charlie. Right?
That Charlie.
Call the Charlie.
Wow. So that's what we loved, and we're on the Charlie side.
Did you guys know about this? Did anybody know about this? No? You do? Oh, of course. You did. You know one more Charlie? What's that? Sorry. You're behind the column.
Yeah.
No, I'd like to repeat that. So, who's that?
No, I think it should be taken offline.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right. Okay, so we won't go to that, Charlie. So I think it's brilliant because look at the spectrum that we've just touched, right? One is that you're looking at it completely in terms of the kind of difference in yourself as roles that you play when you're designing for somebody, which is so user-centric in that sense, and you're kind of going by those aesthetics. And the other is when you're kind of making products or curating and picking them through a certain sensibility. And sometimes the sensibility, in most cases, in fact not sometimes, is also based on whether it's going to sell or not. Similarly with you, there are consultants involved, or there is a preconceived notion that they come in with, but yet you have a box, you know that this is what we do, and we're not doing anything outside it. What you were talking about is going into, I think, this whole idea of there's a certain sense of functionality, and you cannot take that away, and you know that it's going to be utilized in that particular manner. But beyond that, you said something which is, I think, where your journey is, which is this whole idea of being there, picking that piece up right there in the morning and making a good day out of it. Weaver based, so more centric, research centric, and what we are trying to do for the weavers. And here we are talking about both these aspects, that there is a certain responsibility of a gallery, which is one, determined by so many other factors, other than just this visceral feel or picking up of certain art. Tell me, is price any factor? Because Dhruvkant put that down to price as well. Is price any factor?
For some, it is. It entirely depends.
You already have a very bracketed TG, a very bracketed target audience?
So we, for example, ours start from 8,000 rupees onwards, and we play in the bracket where it goes up till about 15 lakhs.
Okay.
So there's So the idea is to play in a market where more people can actually understand what consuming art means.
Correct. So art for all Charlies, right?
Yes.
For all Charlies. Okay. All right. Yeah, please.
And they've already come.
They have, yeah, of course. Project management people cannot be ignored. One of the points, it's there in the taglines and in the discussion, is innovation. And I'm asking about AI and the new technologies which are coming in and how it affects what we are looking at, timelessly rooted to current practices for people, and what new innovations and what things are coming in terms of productions, in terms of what you do and how is that going to affect?
Sure. So I think we're going to cover that in.
If you can cover that.
Oh yeah, sure. No, we are already. So I don't want to kind of put it down to that, but we'll come to that. We'll almost conclude to that. So let's take it the other way, okay? So as a space, Art and Charlie itself, I mean, as a gallery, I think the whole beauty is, and I think I can see it, and I'm sure that's what, there's been a certain reason why you're doing it in that manner, is that there's a lot of activation within the space. What brought that about? And what has worked? What hasn't worked?
So there's a general feeling that for many, many years, the pool of collectors has been stagnant, and kids get more art. There's a lack of art literacy. There's a gap rather in the market around art literacy. So that was one point that we wanted to sort of go out and do something about. The second reason is that if you think of an adjacency from art on who's the easiest to understand art, somebody else who understands culture or art forms in a different way.
Fantastic.
And therefore we started looking at people who understand theatre, music, etc. If you understand that, maybe we can pull you in faster.
Brilliant, because I think a lot of galleries have been trying to do this in
After
different
us
ways.
many tried, yeah.
All right. Yeah, but that's a fact. So I think you kind of covered it. So it's in order to kind of get that adjacency is absolutely the right term. Aayushi, tell me, and we're coming to commerce as well already, right? There is one side of it where we are trying to do something for the weavers, and I'm so glad that you said that because are you worried about overconsumption?
Yeah, so of course.
I'm not using that bad word called sustainability. Oh, sorry, I just said
I'm
it.
glad that you're not.
Oh, you're glad?
saying that.
Okay. So I'll just tell you, and for everybody who's here, thank you. It's amazing to get about 2,000 people in this hall. It's so crowded, it's so nice. But Chendi, you laugh here at that. Okay. So thank you for all of you being here. Sustainability is better. It's better replaced by resource optimization, right? And in this particular case, and especially art, etc., where you guys are sitting, the production itself is a problem. So you think that you've already solved the overconsumption problem, or are you okay with overconsumption?
So we don't produce a lot.
Okay.
There won't be any sari. Now this is specific to Yali, which is the brand. But we don't produce a lot of pieces. So if at all we are reinterpreting the traditions of the past, we'll only bring 5.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
Nothing beyond demand or nothing to to have that supply and demand change in place.
Correct.
So we just basically reinterpret these traditions so that we can see if the weaver is able to revive those skills of the past. That's the whole motive behind the study.
And this can actually go on to other weavers as well.
So we don't take
other
a lot
techniques?
of projects also. It's very limited. We'll have a research in place for a certain technique which will go on for years.
Sure.
And then only bring some specific collections wherein they can also understand what we say so much about contemporary aesthetics. But for them, whatever they've been making is very timelessly rooted, as you've stated here.
True.
So we need to keep that balance also in place wherein it's relevant for them to make the pieces that they are making.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we're not talking about that. I think the balance and the challenge is even greater, right?
Yeah.
In kind of doing that. Bhairavi, how do you see ceramics becoming more collaborative at the making level? Right now you're working with one material and doing it yourself. Do you see it kind of amalgamating with other materials? Have you tried that because you come in from science?
So we have tried with wood, but that it's not mixed in a sense. Like both the materials it's a multimedia kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that we've tried. So doing furniture, etc. Light is something which we want to do a lot with, and especially porcelain. If you go to our, we put up porcelain over there. There I'm researching with making paper clay out of porcelain and paper together.
Okay.
It increases strength of the material, especially at making stage, because ceramics are very tough to work with even at making stage. And every step is very, very crucial. So we are trying that, and in that you can actually make paper thin things, and You don't need a light. If even sunlight is passing through, you'll be able to see through. So that's one thing. Another
And then
thing.
no problem when you bake it.
No,
Okay,
no problem.
okay,
In fact, it makes it lighter.
Oh, okay.
So if you lift that thing,
Sure.
it just seems that it's a paper kind of thing, you know. So no problem. Paper burns off. Then I want to try mixing ceramics and glass. The only thing is that the temperature differences are so much. So that's a big research that is going on
true,
right now. You know, it's in initial stages, but I think that would be interesting. You know, because glass is transparent and this is more solid. You know, kind of thing. So together.
So tell me, sometimes it's difficult to kind of mix two materials, but is it so difficult to mix two people? Two experts? No? Have you tried that?
See, we work very closely with chefs.
Okay,
For
correct.
our
All right.
things.
Fair
So
enough.
we work very closely
Yeah,
with
I've
them,
seen
and
that.
it's a very good relationship that we manage. I mean, yeah,
I know.
initially
You
we
start
go
your
through-
job once we finish. So there's no problem there.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a very good collaborative thing with us,
Thing,
at least
okay.
in terms of that. We've had difficulties with interior designers.
Correct.
But,
I want to know
yeah,
that. I want to know that.
you know, I think people should invest some time in understanding the material, because a lot of the time people come to us and they don't understand the material, and when we try to say this is not possible or this is how we need to change, often they're stuck up on ideas, and that becomes a problem.
True.
And another thing, ceramic takes time.
Time, yeah.
And you need to have that time and come to us. You know,
You need the designers and the PMCs to give time, adequate time.
That's a bigger problem with us. Yeah, the time is of essence.
Fair.
Yeah.
So I mean, scarcity itself is.
So there are issues. I mean, we're trying to work around things and do it.
But
I
okay, I mean, you
hope-
consume just as much as you make, you know. Which is all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Dhruvkant, you've been working with the aspect of design enterprise, right? We've been talking about that so much, and that's what you're trying to do here. And the business of furniture, from raw material to final product. Tell me what aspects help this enterprise at the final product level? Because, you know, I think if there are more manufacturers here, it'll help a lot, especially if they kind of watch this later as well. What aspects during the making itself helps you build that enterprise? It could be from the production level, raw material level, sourcing level, operations, or just the way you display it.
So actually, enterprise means it's a very, the word is small, but the definition is too large. So when I describe enterprise, is right from the idea of a product which I am designing to the final when I'm selling it. Because you know, whenever I am giving a brief to my team or to myself, I make sure that they are clear that there is a market potential for that kind of a design idea, and the product at the end, for me, it is a product which can be sold.
Correct.
So you know, every good idea needs to be sold, and then it becomes an enterprise. Now the process between these two is where you put systems together, wherein you become more free to think about the larger you know, avenues and growth, and parallelly your team is so you know, systematic in generating that whole journey where they are trained to do that, right from the ideation to interaction with the clients, taking brief, sourcing material, production, timely production, and then QCs and deliverables, and that in the time schedule.
What
So
is your
this
shortest-
whole things
what
work
is your-
for that enterprise.
Perfect. I agree, and that's what I started off with. So, which means the aesthetic or the visual allure is one part of it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There's so much that goes behind it, which we sometimes kind of, you know, don't see when we're looking at that product. And especially from the buying perspective, we look at buying that product in terms of whether it fits in or not, whether it's okay in terms of price. And yeah, okay, of course I like it. You know, it looks good.
So there is a lot of research that goes behind it.
Correct. So tell me, in terms of time that you said, that what is the shortest amount of time any piece from TG can be bought in?
1 day.
So that's a ready product.
Yeah.
In terms of order given?
Yes.
What is your lead time?
So we have more than 350 SKUs.
Excellent.
So I can't keep everything in stock.
Of course not.
So
No, see, this is the reality. There's nothing wrong
So
with
the
it.
reality is there that we say 45 to 60 days.
Right.
If it's a product which is to be newly made
Correct.
and which are not in the series of line of production.
Right.
So that's how we do it. But if certain times there are certain pressures, external pressures from the client side, we manage it.
And it is not related to your surname having ANI at the end. Okay. Right? No. Not those kind of pressures. No. It doesn't need to be. What's wrong with you? Sense of humor. It doesn't need to end in Adani or Ambani or something. That's what I'm saying. Right? So not those kind of pressures. So which means that even when he's talking about process enterprise, the idea is not to reduce your 45 to 60 days to 20 days. The idea is one is that when your business is growing, you stick to 45 to 60. One.
So you need
or
to
you
be
bring
realistic.
it down.
No,
Yes.
you need to be realistic. So from day one, we are very realistic in giving time. If it is going to be 90, just for the project, we don't say that it will be done in 60 days because we know exactly. I know my backends.
True.
I'm very clear with that. So when I say it is 90 days, it's going to take 90 days because you are late for your project or I have too many things on my hand. So I can't deliver.
Sure.
So what we feel is that we need to win the trust of the client, and that trust makes a brand. So if I break the trust, then it doesn't work. So two things will only build the client is that whatever good design it is, but ultimately it is about what you say and what you deliver.
True.
That works.
Correct.
So that then rotates into the environment.
Sure. Sure.
So we are very clear.
Fair.
Even if I would lose a project, we stick to our terms.
So you've also capped your year-on-year growth?
Yes.
Or you fixed it at, boss, iske zyada nahi chahiye.
No, we are growing.
We're growing. Super. And I've seen that. And I've seen the whole, I mean, not the whole journey, but at least a large part of it. And I think it's extremely important, especially for everybody who's here. I wish a lot of, brand owners were here to know how, what goes behind this promise, delivering to that promise, and making sure that your back-end processes are in place. Because this is a growing market. It's been how many years now for Raw itself? 8, yeah?
8 years.
So, the industry has opened up.
Tectona is 8 years.
Is 8 years also. Yes, absolutely. Yes, the baby started with, yeah. So, all right. So, we'll come to that. Again, I'm kind of connecting both the things, Shabnam, for you. Is how do you bring in the idea of timelessness in your curated spaces? And I'm saying not just design spaces, but curated spaces. Do you end up kind of also helping people select out of your products, right?
Yes, we do.
So how does that, I mean, does that come through a process or just the objects themselves?
I think you need to be true to what really fits. You can't force fit something because you have it in stock and you want to just get it out there. Because it's a very fine balance between running a business but having a design head while running that business. And if you're true to your craft and if you're true to the vision that you have for the project or the client, then I don't think anything can come in the middle because it'll show.
Sure.
And that is something which you need to be very clear on. That are you running a business or are you a designer? Business is what comes with it. So there is a very big difference in the mindset.
Sure, and this left-right brain dichotomy kind of, I think we all go through it every day, right? So now this is, round 3 begins here. So I'm going to start it this way. And looking at that, so do you think that sheer visibility or the lack of it affects the commerce, especially at the e-commerce level, of furniture e-commerce or product e-commerce?
That's a very relevant question for me because we've never had a PR or a marketing agency for ourselves. We've actually grown purely word of mouth. And I hate putting myself out there. And I have realized over the years that, of course, media has been very kind to us. Our work has stood out. So we've naturally been out there more from the work aspect. But from the time we decided to scale Peacock Life as a brand, I've realized that it is very important to put yourself out there, whether you are that as a person naturally or not.
Correct.
There's a certain business brain that needs to take over and you need to say, let's get this done, girl. Yeah. And
true.
it's just part and parcel of what's growing a business takes.
So are you aware of things like customer acquisition cost, CAC?
I've got great partners who are aware of that.
Okay, okay, cool.
I'm
All right.
fortunately left to do the creative aspect.
Okay, fair enough. Dhruvkant, your choice of name, and I thought at one point I was going to suggest a new name for him because he just said there's a lot of tact that you need, so I thought you change it to Tectona Grandis. But now your name itself is your raw material. So, and therefore the product aesthetics, which you said. So people know they're coming in for something. Do you ever find yourself limited by it? I mean, honestly, because, you know,
Sometime it feels that we can explore or do some innovation with different other materials, but then when we started this, I'm going taking you back 8 years back, and then when we started, uh, I had few strong philosophies while I started. Was uh, I wanted to do with certain kind of material, so I wanted to be known as a designer who is working with solid wood. Because we come from Gujarat, and teak is one of the, it's in our blood. I would say, Valsadi Saag, we say. So we started exploring with teak, and then it attracted us. So we have restricted ourselves, and then the brand name came in.
okay.
So a lot of people don't know that I am also very good with stainless steel and metal, which they don't know about my history.
Yeah.
But we have done a lot of metal work also. But then this was like grew, and then we just fell in love with the material. Then we branded ourselves. But yet sometimes we feel that.
But tell me, the other side is also true, right? Because the acceptability, because it's in our blood, and you're saying not just as designers, but I think the acceptability of teak wood, because it's local to us, is so high. So do you think that was also a safe bet?
Yes, it is.
It is, right?
Yes.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. Correct. So it works both ways, right? Now you kind of
It feels very Indian.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So why not? And as we had a a long chat
yes.
in an aircraft when we were together,
Correct.
that people talk about international brands and international cities and countries. We never boost ourselves. So I said that my dream is to just boost my country and my design.
Perfect.
So it's India design, and my design, Tectona. So what's wrong with it? If they are using oak, let them use oak. If they are using ash, let them use ash. I use teak because it's my country, my wood, and I'm trying to do the best out of that. Nothing
They
wrong.
are okay with it.
That's my identity.
True. So they are okay with it. वो लोग ऐश कर रहे हैं, no problem. है ना? हम ठीक ठाक हैं.
And people are loving it.
And yeah, so you said that you've fallen out. Yes, but you're not the only one.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying that. And there's so much of teakwood furniture happening here that
वो तो success mantra हो गया ना.
maybe, maybe, but it's still not the whole idea of your low-hanging grape. Just pick up teakwood and just do it. And now I think it's going to become even more difficult because of what you all are doing kind of collectively. Okay, Bhairavi, so have you experienced that any buying decision? Because are you there at the selling point as well? When you are, right?
Yeah.
So the buying decision for a piece of ceramic is based on aspects beyond the aesthetic. What about its perception of being fragile in its usage? Does that deter somebody?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Just tell us something about it.
Because a lot of the time people come and then say, "ये टूटता है." I said, "Yeah, of course टूटता है." I mean, it's
ये Tectona
ceramics.
थोड़ी है.
Exactly.
वो भी not Tectona. वो भी टूटता है.
So, I mean, I think for ceramics, we had to educate people a lot. And especially with handcrafted stuff, because it's more expensive. You get lots of factory made stuff, which is cheap, dime a dozen, and people are used to that and they're not careful with using that. So you had to, we had to educate people a lot. And when people understand how it's made and when you realize the handcrafted has a different charm altogether. You know, when you hold it in your hand and everything.
No, we
it
feel
is
that they do.
different, Yeah.
Your buyers do.
Yeah, they do. They do. It has taken a
A time,
lot of
of course,
time,
of course.
but it's worked. You know, and I think now people who come to us, I mean, thankfully, a lot of time, I would say around 75 to 80% of the time, people are already sold on to handcrafted stuff. They want our stuff. Or they've sold on to our aesthetic also. We also have a very strong aesthetic identity.
Yeah.
So when they come to us, they know that what they're getting into, and then it's there. But still, questions do come. ये टूटता है, chip होता है. I said you just have to be careful.
हाँ, कोई लोग teak wood ले लेते हैं to make good business. We do this so that you come back to us after it breaks. Don't you tell them that?
We've got people coming after 4 to 5 years that, oh, it's chipped. I said, it's been 4 years. It better chip now.
No, they actually come and tell you that as a complaint?
Not as a complaint. What do we do? Can you repair it? I said, no, I can't repair it.
Oh my God, okay. Oh.
You know, I mean, it's okay. Let go.
Do they buy more after that?
Yeah.
They do. Great. It should chip.
Yeah.
Aayushi, now research and what you're trying to do, and we can just change it to something simpler. Where do you see, not yourself, but Registry of Sarees as a whole, 5 years down the line?
I think right now we are focusing more on the hand-spun, hand-woven textiles that we have, and that's been the traditional culture in India. But as much as we've appreciated the hand-spun, hand-woven, we've also appreciated powerloom. And till now, I think we've just drawn focus with our own collection, you know, having the narrative of this was spun, hand-woven cotton. This is an indigenous variety which is gone. But I think from this exhibition onwards, and that's what you'll also see in the gallery, that we've also included narratives that have existed parallelly with hand-spun, hand-woven textiles, and we've expanded the scope to South Asia. So I think 5 years down the line, that would be the...
Okay, so you're looking at geographical expansion
also,
more so,
yes.
right?
And also, our main focus has also been how cultures and traditions can never be restricted into these geopolitical borders. So, for example, Ajrak is practiced here in India, in Kutch. It's practiced in Pakistan, also Sindh. Now, prior to 1947, there was no India-Pakistan. So, traditions were shared.
True.
Similarly, Ikkats from here went to Indonesia and vice versa. A lot of traditions were exchanged. So, South Asia is really an important study for us, and we are moving towards that.
As a market or as a craft?
as a research practice.
Research,
for
okay.
us, yes.
Okay, super. Had you actually thought of 5 years down the line before this?
No.
No.
So,
Okay.
so since you've asked this, and in context to what we are doing at Raw this year, I thought that I think that is what's going to happen with the direction.
Fair.
Yes.
I'm so glad. I'll twist it for you. If you were to select a furniture for your home, where would you go and what would you look for in it? How do you select something?
Furniture, you said. I
Not
can't
art.
select art.
Not art. You know art. And don't say, I'll just come to Raw and pick up whatever I like. Damn.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. No, I don't want to make it so easy. Maybe she'll do that finally. Don't worry.
So, do I have, how much money do I have to spend?
All the money in the world.
Your budget, same thing. All the money in the world, your budget, same thing.
So, of course, I'd like one-of-a-kind pieces.
Yes, okay. So,
Something,
uniqueness?
Uniqueness, something that's an artistic object more than furniture.
Okay.
And then I'd go down the list of like, I don't know, durability, cost, effectiveness.
That's already thrown out of the window because you said it's a piece of art. It may just be functional and become a piece of furniture where
But
you can.
in 2 years, I don't want to go buy another Eames chair, no?
Okay. Okay, so Eames chair, right? Have you come across something like this that is very desirable but you've not bought it?
Yes. Well, I mean, I've not been looking for furniture, so this is
Correct.
completely
Yeah, that's why. I mean,
of my
course.
wheelhouse.
See, we again from the whole idea of understanding how you would pick it. what determines it? So for you, it is the artisticness of it, which is largely a certain sense of visual allure with, everything else that kind of comes in, because then art is not just that, and it has, laden with meaning.
Yeah.
So
layered with meaning works a lot for me as well.
Okay.
That's how I choose art. The narrative behind it, who has done it, their histories, if there is a legacy of making that kind of art also, that kind of furniture also matters.
Sure. And no, there may be art and craft within it.
Correct.
Yeah. It could be teakwood furniture using maybe Bidri. Like Bidri, you saw what they were doing there in at DD, It was crazy.
Correct.
So it could be things like that which kind of connect.
Correct.
Okay. So you're still looking at a kind of a connect with it?
Yes.
Right? Longer term?
Histories,
not just
legacies, the narrative behind it and the...
Great. So, so we know what to make now. So I think we kind of end up pretty much there. Okay. So yeah, exactly. So I think because this flow was quite self-evident, I'm not really concluding this part of it, but I think what we are looking at is that we've already thrown the visual aspect out of the window, right? Or we're saying that we just take it for granted so much, saying that we know for a matter of fact that the visual is going to work, and we can't take that away. We don't want a fantastically heavily meaning painting which does not connect to us at the visceral level, right? And yes, a lot of Indian art for a long time, delved into that. Whereas crafts evolved, the art was still governed so much by socio-political, economic or socio-economic reasons. And we were in that phase of, more socialist kind of thinking, which is where all the art came from. So it did not do much in terms of your desirability. It was only a means of expression, right? And craft was just the other way around. So one is picking up things or buying or even helping somebody curate through this whole idea of who is my TG is based on who is already aligned to craft, culture, other forms of art to be able to understand a deeper meaning. Here we are talking about research. We're looking at 5 years down the line to increase it in terms of your geographical area, in terms of where it reaches, but which is strongly based in the fact that what you're doing is finally for that craft and for the weavers who are working on it. What you're looking at is, I think, yes, you may be working on different materials together, and I can just see so much of a rigor, because ceramic is like that. It needs rigor. It's been there for such a long time. It's something that we've seen, dug out of the old civilizations. I think your whole fun is more in the making than actually the selling. But yes, I think somebody comes back after 4 years and saying it's chipped is something that you should be proud of, because they want it to be repaired because they want to use it. They've not just put it aside. A lot of ceramics get relegated to, the shelves and gather dust. So usable ceramic is great. Dhruvkant, we've discussed enough, and I think what you were able to bring here is that there is a fight always within yourself of restricting yourself to a certain material, being so kind of committed to it, getting the best out of it, in time to come, but then realizing that your love has become so many other people's love for that furniture, for what you've created, to be able to scale that as a business is what you're working on. And I think in 8 years, congrats, it's a lot. It's a huge journey, and I think it'll be great if a lot of others are able to pick and learn, from this. And Shabnam, I think you were happy with the last one, because I think this whole idea of design and e-commerce is a big issue. Issue because of how we are built, in terms of what to do and what to sell, or what sells determines how we make. Correct? And all the products that you have on the e-commerce is also not necessarily your own products, but you're kind of curating it in a certain manner. So I think it'll be great if everyone here is able to catch you and talk to you and try and understand that how building your own personal brand has built the business in a certain manner, which may still need so much more. So having said this, 3 quick questions. We can have The third one from the first row. For the first one from elsewhere. Huh? Yeah, yeah, sure, please, of course.
I just wanted to. First of all, thank you so much, everybody. I just wanted to ask a little bit about and bring a little focus to Raw Collaborative and the diversity that you all bring. It's quite magnificent. So I just wanted to kind of first credit you guys for bringing such brilliant stuff for all of us to see and consume. But more than that, how do you feel? Of course, tired. But have you seen the vision take shape? And is there something that you would like to leave a comment on that about your curation at Raw for 2024? If anybody can take that. Yeah, please.
So, while we are curating the young designer gallery, and which has just which has come up, and I've been interacting them with few of them for almost past 4 months. And yesterday, one of the parent came down to me, and she was like completely. She didn't be. Doesn't need to thank me for this because it's Raw that has got him over here. But then the guidance, and you feel very great about yourself, but then you need to be very modest also, because it's life and it happens, and someone must have helped me, and now I'm helping someone else because of my experience that I have. And that was the motive behind this curation and specifically mentoring this young designers, and that was the actual idea of this whole platform which we have done. And few kids were really happy, and I was very happy to see them coming to me and discussing about the whole journey, in fact. And that feels, it's a good feeling. So I'm thankful to you guys for supporting that idea which we discussed, and then we came up with this.
Anyone at the back?
No, thanks very
sorry, yeah,
much
sure,
to Raw for doing this, because I don't think so. We've been able to bring 120 artworks in the space. I don't think we, this scale of an exhibition kind of for us also. But also I'm from Ahmedabad and I have not seen something like that scale. Correct. So that expansion, natural expansion, has been really great, and thank you.
Any other? Anyone? You won't get these guys otherwise. This is the best time. Yeah. It's amazing.
We have research, we have textiles, we have so much knowledge there at the textile category. We have ceramics, again, so much of materiality and talking about materials, the way they have explored. We have playground again. There is a completely different energies there. There's visual arts. So I think the idea of doing this panel discussion first with the curators was that design is so much more than aesthetics. It's about the narratives. It's about the culture, the legacy that we all are carrying. As Indians, I think we have absolutely, like you said, from the wood to the ceramics to the mitti to the textile, the like you said, the ikat, the absolutely everything. There's a whole treasure there with the visuals, visual art. I think all of them are emerging Indian artists, and the brief to them was sense and sensibility. So each and every work that you see at the visual art gallery, every single work has this story of where they come from. India in a different, very, very different interpretation and expression. Again, it is so beautiful that is the beauty of, I think, design when it comes together. And this is a brilliant panel, to not just a panel, but
the moderator as well.
We are extremely the moderator, obviously, the perfect choice for us. Yes, but we are extremely grateful to have this. We are extremely privileged to have this kind of mix, and and to be able to pull through something like this. And Thank you so much for doing absolutely every bit that you all have done for us at Raw Collaborative this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I like to have the last word. So I think we've covered such a lot. I just feel very, very strongly that everybody who's here exhibiting, coming in, they should actually do one-to-ones, actually meet you, and get this, because in about an hour, how much of a capsule are we going to kind of extract? But I think what you have, and I'll tell you one more thing, as a better ending note than the little, is that I think what this is doing to each one of you internally is something else. And I'm so happy, so glad, grateful that I got this opportunity to meet you and have this little conversation, because all your internal journeys are so amazing, so inspirational, all of it. And I think you're still kind of doing it, because every time you see an art, it churns you in a way. You see a weaver, you see that getting consumed. But you're making, when he's making, selling, teaching, mentoring, and when you're putting it out as a space and curating it in multiple ways that you've seen it over so many years, is itself amazing. And all this was in English. I'll just conclude in Shashi Tharoor now. Okay. So, and this is only for Raw itself, because Nimit had a whole question about AI and all of that, and I didn't want to kind of touch that, but we did touch it, because this is where the roots are, and how much ever that happens, we are not going to be able to stop it, but we'll have to figure out how both of them, end up living together. We don't have answers yet, but we're going to have a discussion on that very soon. So we didn't talk about functionality in detail, because that's what we buy something for. And the functions could be seating, sleeping, holding, etc. Or being on a wall or draping beyond covering the body. We know that when we pick something, in a matter of seconds, we start seeing things first based on what it means to us, and interjected with the intent of the maker. Stronger the intent, stronger the story, and therefore more compelling is the decision to possess it. Let snippets of this discussion help us delve deeper into the minds of the designers and curators, makers, who have so painstakingly exhibited here at Raw Collaborative, a platform that brings some of the well-accepted minds, the evolving ones, the dreamers, and the pragmatists, who have strong governing factors that help them create what they do. Let us connect at a deeper level, while we are clearly attracted by the visual allure these next 4 days, and encourage them beyond just appreciation. Yeah? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Lovely.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
I'm going to thank all of you.
I don't know. Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone. I would just like to invite Tanvi to initiate with a small little memento for everybody.
Thank you.